Hi, how are you guys doing? It is your girl Shenita C, aka the beauty influencer, and I wanted to come to you guys today because I am officially a homeowner for 1 year. Yay! Okay, so my anniversary was 4 days ago on 11/22. I purchased my house last year in the year 2022. And so I wanted to go ahead and give you guys an update on how it has been for me throughout this, past year for being a homeowner. So I want to go ahead and just let you guys know a little bit about how it was for me last year. So I knew I always wanted to buy a house. I was really expecting to start the process whenever I was married and had children, but things seem to have worked out differently for me. And not only that, but I always told myself when I was in my 20s that I wanted to go ahead and purchase my home before the age of 30. Well, needless to say, I was a little bit over that. I was 32 when I purchased my home, and now I'm 33. And not only that, but my dream home has always been a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath, huge house. Okay, so needless to say, I did not get that, but I am very satisfied with what I have. So first thing is first is when I started the home buying process last year, I started it in September of 2022, and it was very spontaneous for me. I literally woke up one day in my apartment and I was like, I really just want to give it a shot. I had been seeing a lot of people on social media during that time that had been purchasing, houses or that were already homeowners, and they were just talking about the process. So for me, I wanted to go ahead and jump in as well. And plus, not only that, but the apartment that I was staying in, the property manager was constantly going up on the rent, and I just refused to have paid a certain amount for a 1-bedroom. So I'm in the state of Georgia, and at the time that I was staying in my apartment, my rent had went from $625 to $705. And I want to say when I got the renewal letter, I want to say it was saying $795. And I just wasn't willing to pay, over $700 for a 1-bedroom. And I felt like I had already outgrew that 1-bedroom because I had a lot of stuff. And it was a nice apartment. For the most part, it was just a very small apartment, but it was perfect for just one person or maybe even a couple. So a mixture of, like I said, seeing other people, around my age purchasing houses, and then of course with the rent and stuff escalating, increasing, I was like, I think this would be the perfect time to go ahead and consider getting a house. Now, I was super nervous throughout that process. I didn't know what to expect. So it's pretty normal to be a little bit nervous, maybe even scared, with a process that you're not familiar with. And so I didn't know where to start. So what I did, I made a status on Facebook, and I was actually asking people, who did they use as far as like a realtor to help them purchase a home. And yeah, that's what I pretty much did. And so I got a lot of people that commented and suggested different people in my area. I ended up going for this person that's well known in my area. He's a male. A really good experience. How can I say this? When I started the process, I already had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, with family. So it was a little bit, I would say, stressful. It really was. Not a lot, but just a little bit. So like I said, I was very nervous. I felt like I didn't have the support that I felt like I should have had from, family and friends. So it's like something I had to kind of learn on my own. If I had to do it over again, I would definitely want that support, from my family and my friends. Like, I really was expecting family and friends to come with me, during the house shopping process. But needless to say, I did not get that. I was very upset and very emotional during that time. But, I was like, what? Maybe people were not meant to be around me during that time when I started that process of home buying. So needless to say, again, It was a spontaneous process. I did not plan it. Like I said, I just woke up one day and was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. So the first thing that I had to do was obviously find a realtor, and I did. And so the next step was when my realtor reached out to me on social media, you know, he just let me know, you know, a little bit about the process and what to expect. He did tell me that he had a team in place, because you do have to have a mortgage broker. Excuse me, I don't know what I was about to say, but yes, you do have to have a mortgage broker. And so he introduced me to the person that was going to be assisting me with my mortgage loan, which, you know, she turned out to be very nice as well. So those are the main two people that I stayed in contact with throughout the 2 months process. Again, I started in September of 2022, and it took me until 11/22/2022 to finish and complete the process. And so you know, after my realtor put me in contact with the mortgage broker, from there, you know, we did I guess we had to do like a pre-approval, like to kind of get me pre-approved for the mortgage loan. And that part I was really nervous about. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't realize, I was so naive. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Please, I was 32 years old. This just goes to show that, you know, you're never too old to learn new things. And so I always thought that when a person got a pre-approved for something, that, you know, they can just go out and just get, you know, that exact amount, and, you know, they get to pick, you know, their mortgage, you know, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. But it did not work that way. So I ended up getting educated during that process. I mean, I did a little bit of research on my own. And then, of course, I learned a lot of information from, you know, speaking with my mortgage broker. And so, should I say, I don't know, I keep saying mortgage broker. I'm sorry, a loan officer. Let me just use that word, loan officer. I don't know why I kept saying a mortgage broker. Maybe that is the right word. I don't know, but we're going to say loan officer. So, yeah, she taught me a lot of stuff as far as, you know, the terminology when it comes to, you know, purchasing a home, things of that nature. But anyway, long story short, after I submitted over all of my personal information, and I was so grateful and happy that I was able to do at least about 85% of this stuff online. So I did not have to really go in person no more than to, you know, finalize everything. And then, of course, the actual home shopping, you know, obviously you do have to go there in person to look at the property. Okay, so we did the pre-approval. It got back pretty quick. I want to say it took her, I don't know if it was the same day or maybe the next day. So about 24 hours, I'm gonna say within 24 hours, I got an email from her, the loan officer, saying that I had been pre-approved for $185,000. I was so shocked, you know, when I got the approval. You know, I was so excited. And I reached out to, you know, some of my family, some of my friends, and I felt like I didn't get that excitement that I was expecting from them, but it was okay. Like I said, this past year has taught me a lot. But yeah, and I'm just being completely transparent. This is just, you know, my experience and, you know, my point of view or my belief in how this home buying process was for me. So if you are my family or friends and you're watching this, please don't get offended. This is the way I perceived everything when I went through this process. So yeah, when I got approved for it, I remember reaching out to certain friends and family members and letting them know. And I didn't get that, you know, oh my God, girl, yay. You know, I didn't get that. But I was so happy inside. I mean, I was so devastated, because I'm like, why are they not cheering me on? Like, how many people, 32-year-olds, purchase a home on their own? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But anyway, I was my own cheerleader, so I was happy. And so, okay, I was like, you know, I thought I could spend the whole $185,000. I really did, you know, and I could have did that, you know, but I was like, no, I need to be realistic. So I knew that I was already paying $705 for my rent for my apartment. So I was like, you know, I want to do a mortgage that is around that same amount. And as the process went on more and more, you know, my loan officer, she did tell me that, you know, realistically, you know, it may be a little bit more than what, you know, you're wanting. So when she told me that, I was like, you know, I started, you know, looking at where I was working at, you know, how much I was bringing in, and I get paid, you know, bi-weekly. And I was making less at my job than what I'm making right now. So, you know, I didn't care. But anyway, when she told me that it could be a little bit more than what I was anticipating, I then went in and, you know, calculated my finances, and I'm like, okay, so we're shooting for between $700 at the minimum, and then $1,000 at the top, like the max. That's the most I was willing to pay for a mortgage. Cause I'm like, the whole reason of me buying a house is because rent is at an all-time high and it's skyrocketing. So I'm like, why would I sit up there and, you know, leave from my apartment where I'm paying $700, you know, and $5, and then go somewhere else where it's a little bit high. But that is what I actually ended up doing. But I still feel like I'm winning because I don't have to worry about, you know, a fluctuation in, you know, my mortgage. So anyway, needless to say, when she told me that I got approved for the 185, I was so happy. And so I was told that my next step was to go ahead and start looking for a home that was within that budget of the 185. Now, like I said, I did not want to go out there and spend the whole amount because I knew the mortgage for something like that would be very, very, very expensive, or should I say more than my what I'm able to bring in, you know, with my job. Okay. So what I ended up doing, this was something that I thought of on my own. I was like, well, let me see if I can find a house that's $100,000 or less. So, and like I said, I'm in Georgia. So when I started looking at the houses, of course I looked online, and then when I seen something that I wanted to look at that kind of caught my eye, you know, I would reach out to my realtor and I would just let him know, like, hey, I want to look at this property, you know, and then he would send me stuff too within my budget. Now, I had a lot of stipulations when it came to, you know, what I was looking for as far as a house. And I remember my realtor, he sent me a text message, and he was like, you know, he was just doing his job. He was like, now, you know, you're only working with this right here, you know. And I was like, dang, he's right. And I know some people say you can go through this process, you know, by yourself without using a realtor. But for me, I highly recommend using a realtor. I'm just being honest. Like, it's so much better. And this person, they have so much more knowledge. And it's like you don't have to worry about going out here, you know, getting all these people. You don't just have to worry about socializing with a lot of people if you just go ahead and use a professional, which is a person that specializes in real estate, you know. So I feel like that was the right route to go. And I know some people may feel the total opposite, but for me, I thought it was really good. But anyway, long story short, you know, he had to bring me down a little bit. You know, I was hitting him with, you know, oh, I don't want this, it got to have that, you know. But he did tell me, like, you know, we only working with this, you know. So anyway, long story short, I think in total I looked at about 4 houses. And the first one that I looked at, oh my God, I fell in love with it. Oh my God, like, it was everything that I could have imagined. Now, I will say that all of the houses, the 4 houses that I looked at that he showed me, was like on this one side of town. Like, I was like, what? And I remember asking him, like, what's up with this side of town? Like, why are you trying to get me over here? You know, in Columbus, I mean, it's an average city, you know, it's not too big, not too small. And so I wasn't really familiar with what they consider to be, this is the east side. I wasn't familiar with that. I always stayed on like uptown area, you know, whatever. But anyway, he kept, you know, putting me over here on the east side. So I was like, let me just give it a try. Let me just look it up and see, you know, what the neighborhood is like and, you know, whatever. But anyway, the first house that I looked at, fell in love with it. I didn't go in person to look at it. I was just doing like a virtual tour. And so I liked the features that the house had. And I fell in love with the barnyard doors for the kitchen. I thought that was like, oh my God. And it was a little bit above my budget. Actually, it was a lot. I think it was like $149,000, but I was willing to find some type of way. I was willing to find some type of way to make that happen. But anyway, as I was getting ready to go look at that particular property in person, you know, he did send me, my realtor sent me a message and was like, you know, somebody just made an offer on the home. And I got so devastated because I'm like, I'm already nervous. I don't know what to expect. And I was debating if I was doing the right thing or not. And, you know, I didn't want him to think that I was just kind of like playing, you know what I mean? Because real estate agents, you know, they get paid by commission, and, you know, time is money. And I didn't want him to feel like I was just, you know, wasting his time or whatever. But I did let him know, because I want to say at that time, I started becoming a little bit discouraged on things with the house. And so when he told me that somebody else had made an offer, I didn't understand what that meant. I thought that I could just, you know, almost like bid it, like outbid it. But he was like, it doesn't work that way. So I told him, I was like, well, if I come across another house and I'm digging it and I'm getting ready to go see it and I can't see it because somebody else had made an offer, I said, we're just going to wait until next year to start the process, you know. And he was like, you know, he used some type of metaphor about, you know, something about a boyfriend. I don't know. It was some type of little cute little thing he had said, but it made sense what he was saying. You know, like you're gonna get your heart broken, but just don't give up. You know what I mean? Like whatever. So I get what he was saying. So anyway, needless to say, I had to let go of that. So I ended up looking at another property. Now, when I pulled up at this particular property, like I said, I went through this process by myself. I would have loved to have my family and or friends there with me, but again, for whatever reason, people had their own stuff going on, so I had to go through this process by myself. And I looked at this one particular house, and I loved the yard. When I pulled up, you know, it was really nice, well kept lawn. It was a regular fence around the house. I loved the driveway. I liked the fact that it was a brick house. Every house that I looked at was a one level home, which was really good. And so when I went inside, I liked the tile floors as well. That's another thing. No, it was the hardwood floors. But when I started looking around the house, it's like you could tell that the previous owners, they had children, because like these kids had colored on like the doors and walls, but you could tell that someone did a horrible job with painting over the crayons, the markers, whatever. And all of the rooms were like really, really small. And I think what really, really got me was when I went in the kitchen, like there was like a roach, you know, just crawling around. Then when I went inside the bathroom, there were like ants all in the tub. And I'm like, what is that? You know, what's up with the ants in the tub? So yeah, needless to say, I was like, nah, I'm good, you know, or whatever. I did like the patio slide-in doors there. It reminded me of my apartment, and I would have loved to have had a patio door with the, you know, the slide-in doors. All right, so then when I left that property, it was another one that I looked at too. It was a 4-bedroom home. Yeah, it was 4-bedroom, and what really got me, I didn't go see it in person, but what was a little bit confusing, and that property I think was like $90,000. Like I kept monitoring that particular property, and it just kept going down. I'm like, I don't know if I should be nervous or happy that the owner keeps going down on the price. But anyway, I just felt like it was just like a red flag, because it's like, why is this house going down? Because I think it went from 120 to 110 and then 90,000, I believe. And it was a 4-bedroom home. But what's really getting me was the fact that one of the rooms was like painted like a navy blue color. And I know I could have got the property and just painted it myself, but I'm not a painter. And then not only that, but I knew I wanted to get like a house that was pretty much kind of I guess the terminology is turnkey ready. Like it's just ready, you know, for move-in, so to speak, without having to do, you know, pretty much little to nothing almost. That's what I was looking for, because I knew that this process was going to be an expensive process. So the last thing I wanted to do was, you know, purchase a project. I didn't want to do that. So needless to say, I didn't bother to look at that particular property in person. I just did it virtually. And so the last house that I looked at is where I'm at right now. Okay, so I looked at the property online and I fell in love with it. I was like, ain't no way this house looked like this in person. Like, I know that, you know, they hired a professional photographer and he ended up, you know, really editing the pictures. You know how those people be doing. They gonna sell their property. And so what really sold me on this property were the security gates outside. I was like, oh my God, electric security gates. I liked it because, like I said, I'm on a whole nother side of town than what I'm used to or familiar with. My family is on the opposite side. So I was like, at least I have a sense of comfort if, you know, I have the security gates, and they are electric. Okay. And I call them the gates of heaven. So, needless to say, I came and I looked at the property and I fell in love with it. Like, it was like, oh my God. Like, when I looked at it, I went ahead and made my offer then. Now, I will say that this property was above my budget a little bit. Like I told y'all, I was looking for a hard stop maximum at 100,000. Like, it had to be. All right. But this property ended up being 107.5, I believe. Yeah, 107.5. Was it? Let me look at my documents. Yeah, it actually ended up being 107K. That's how much it ended up being. The property ended up being 107K. Yeah. All right, so the specs of this property. Now, I really was not a fan of the whole gas thing. And I remember telling my realtor, like, I wanted a total electric house. Like, I was like, I don't want no gas. Like, I was always told that, you know, growing up, you don't get no apartment or a house that's, you know, run by gas. You don't do that. But needless to say, this house is ran by gas. So not only that, but the house is an older house, and it's been remodeled. Obviously, the house was built in 1964. Let me make sure I'm giving you guys the correct information. Yes, but this house was built in 1964, and it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home, 974 square foot home. So it is a very small home, but it's perfect for me because it's just me here. And one of my rooms I turned into an office. The other room I turned into like my beauty room / filming room. And I know you can never really get, you know, you can't really get finished decorating your home, but one of these days I'm going to give you guys a tour of my home. But right now it's not where I want it to be, but it's a nice home. So built in 1964, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. The roof was fairly new. I think it had been done within the past 2 years. The windows are new. I have a lifetime warranty on the windows. They were newly replaced. And yeah, so for the most part, I love this home. I call her Linda, by the way, because she's old. But she's like a smart home, like I said. I do have an alarm system because you just never know. And I have one of those ovens that's like in the wall, which I really love because it's like, you know, I don't have to bend over no more to put stuff in and out the oven. You know what I mean? So I love that. I also like the fact that I have this huge front and backyard. I love it. The only downside is that this house was built on a slope. Okay, and I'm not really a fan of it, but I've gotten used to it now with parking my car outside. And yeah, I love the way the windows look. Like, I've never seen windows like these before. They open up from side to side instead of, you know, your regular up and down. I love that. You know, also love the chandelier. that's in the dining room. I love that. You know, I love the fact that I have somewhat of a semi island in my home for the kitchen. The kitchen is very small. Like I said, everything is pretty much small, but it's okay. So I don't consider this to be my forever home, but I do consider this to be a good starter home for myself, a good, you know, investment, you know, and it's really good. I love it. But yes, so this process, again, it was really good for me. And so now that you guys have an understanding of how I went about purchasing the home, let's talk about the financial part of the home. I want to go ahead and say that, again, this is just my belief, my experience, and just, you know, my thoughts and advice. I do feel like the home buying process is unique for every person. So what may have worked for someone else may not work for the next person, especially the time, you know, because the interest rates for homes, it changes every single day. So you just never know. And so with that being said, they have different programs, you know, available for people that are, you know, just now buying a home, first time home buyer. I know I took advantage of that, and it varies based on your state. And so needless to say, I ended up qualifying for a grant to where they would pay my down payment, because you do have to put down a down payment for your home. And it's a certain percentage of the home. I want to say it's like 10%, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, maybe a little bit less. But they ended up paying about close to $7,000 for me to put down as my down payment. And so the only thing is with that is that, you know, if you do not stay in the home the full, I want to say 3 to 5 years, it varies, then you will forfeit, you know, that down payment assistance, and you may have to pay that money back if you move before the 3 to 5 years have exhausted. In my case, I have to stay here for at least 5 years. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about is the financial part of what you would need for buying a home. Now, we already discussed the down payment assistance process. So the next thing that we can talk about is, once you have found your house, what do you do then? So for me, after I found the house that I wanted, I made an offer with my realtor, and then so the next thing that I had to do was do what they call a good, I think it's a good faith deposit, I think. But it's pretty much where you show the seller of the home that you're serious about buying their particular property and not anyone else's property. And so you do have to go ahead and secure that property by doing a deposit, a good faith deposit. And so it can range anywhere from $500 to $1,000. Needless to say, mine was $1,000 for the home. And so you do have to get a cashier's check from your bank in order to get that deposit. And so when you do it, you can give it to your realtor, or you can just go ahead and go to the office of where the property is, whoever is the real estate property, something like that, wherever the seller is, whoever they're using to sell their house through, you go to that office to go ahead and put your good faith deposit down, or either you give it to your realtor. So I ended up taking it to the real estate, the property manager's office, whatever you want to call it. I'm so confused right now. But I ended up taking it myself instead of just giving it to my agent. But anyway, so yeah, so that is good. It's $1,000, and so this shows everyone that you're serious about, you know, purchasing the property. And so usually this deposit or this good faith amount is like non-refundable, but it's only non-refundable for a certain time frame, because you do have up until, I want to say, I can't remember if it's 3 weeks or a month to go ahead and get it back, I suppose. But after that, pretty much it just goes to the seller whether you get the house or not. You know, I know some people may have already did their deposit, and then they later feel like, okay, well, I'm not ready to go through this process, or they may not get the final approval for their mortgage loan. And so they just pretty much give up that $1,000 deposit or good faith that they put down. So anyway, yeah, so after I paid the good faith, the next thing was to go ahead and get the home inspection done, as well as getting your house appraised. Now, when it came to my home inspection, I did not know. I just thought that it was optional, because I was very confused about it, because my real estate agent initially told me that it was optional, and then I found out later on down the line when I was getting ready to close on the home that it's indeed mandatory, especially if you're getting assistance from, you know, down payment assistance, or from any type of I guess government assistance. I'm not really sure, but they do require you to go ahead and get the inspection, I guess, before they pay your down payment, just so they can see that the property is, you know, in good condition or whatever. So yeah, yes, okay, so in total, and this is what I mean when I say everybody's process will be different. So for me to complete the home buying process for me last year, out of my own pocket, I literally only had to pay about, I would say about $2,000, I believe. Well, actually a little bit over that, because I did have to, I broke my lease on my apartment as well. But if you don't have to break your lease, then I would say that you just really only have to pay about $2,000 for everything, if you have down payment assistance and all of that stuff. That's how much this stuff was for me to buy a home out of my own pockets. And $2,000 is, you know, is really nothing for you to come up with. This is why I say that anybody can buy a home, because I was one of those ones that thought you had to have at least $20,000 in the bank, you know, at least $20,000, but actually only had to have about $2,000. But I will say, you know, someone that's, you know, working like a regular 9-to-5 like myself, realistically, you know, and you know, you make, this does not mean that this is my pay range, but I'm just putting it out there. And if you're making anywhere between, I would say $12 to $20 realistically, you may want to have about $5,000 to $10,000 in your bank account for the home buying process. And this should cover, you know, anything that may be going on in the house, you know, because some people may have only got certain stuff fixed just long enough to sell the house, and then before you know it, you know, when you buy the home, all of this other stuff is coming up. So, but anyway, I did the did I do the appraisal? So the appraisal is, I think it's like $500 or $600. And the inspection, it ranges, depends on who you use. And it can be up to that amount as well. So luckily I had some good people on my team that was like helping me with that stuff. So again, I really only had to pay, you know, a little bit over $2,000, close to $3,000. And that does include breaking my lease as well. So all in all, I feel like it was a win for me, you know, going through the home buying process. And it's definitely a process that I look forward to doing again when I purchase my forever home with my mate, obviously, because that's gonna be the next time that I purchase one. Okay, but yes, realistically, I feel like anyone, if they really wanted to purchase a home, they really can do it, as long as you know, you're working. They do require you to have at least 2 years worth of work experience or work history, so that they can, you know, try to approve you for a loan. And again, pre-approval is not the same as actually approved, and you will not know that you're actually approved for your loan to purchase your home until literally you're getting ready to close. I mean, you won't even find out until maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 days before the closing date. That's when you'll find out if you really got approved or not. And the last stage of the home buying process, with the exception of the closing, is the underwriting. It is during that particular stage where they literally look at everything under a microscope. They look at your finances, your credit, all of that stuff, because they want to be able to know if you are worth the risk. Like, are they, you know, are you going to be the type to bail out on paying your mortgage? Things of that nature. Okay, when I tell you that they look at everything with a fine-tooth comb, they really do. And it's like, I felt a little bit embarrassed last year when they was going through mine, because I'm like, dang, like, do I make a lot of money? But I'm glad that I went ahead and went through this process. And like I said, I went through the process and I had a lot going on in my personal life, so it was like so refreshing when I found out that I got approved, because I'm like, finally, one thing is going right in my life. You know what I mean? So yes, but it's been a very good experience for me, a pleasant one. I'm still trying to figure out, once the 5-year mark is over with, if I would, you know, move somewhere else, maybe to another apartment, or, you know, and, you know, move to another apartment, then rent out my property, because this will be my property. I don't know yet, you know, so yeah, because this is my baby. I love her. I love Linda. So some of you guys may be wondering, you know, is it worth being a homeowner? Because I know some people say they don't want to have to deal with the headaches of having to fix everything. You know, they may be wondering, okay, is it worth it? Like, how can I afford that if I just bought a house? So that is where the appraisal and the inspection comes from, because they're going to literally look at everything. And it's up to you whether you want to move forward with buying that particular property once you get the results back for everything. So when I got my results back and having looked over everything, I did see there was some minor stuff that needed to be done. Like, I didn't even know that I had a leak in the kitchen until when I moved in. Like, the first week that I moved in, I noticed that, you know, as I was running the water in the kitchen sink, that it was just leaking like water. I was so mad. I even doubted if I did the right thing by purchasing this property. But needless to say, I ended up getting it fixed. I do know that eventually I will have to get the hot water heater fixed, and then also get the HVAC system looked at maybe. So those are expensive things. But like I said, I'm hoping that it doesn't happen no time soon. You know what I mean? Because everything is like skyrocketing high right now. So your girl cannot afford it at this present moment. So we just gonna pray that God just hold on to everything. But yeah, she is old, and it's minor stuff that I had to get fixed. Like I said, the leaking sink. I also had to get my toilet fixed because it was constantly running. I did do some upgrades already when I moved into the house. I ended up getting a new faucet for the kitchen sink, because with me doing hair, I did not want my clients having to be uncomfortable more than they have to with bending over in my kitchen sinks to shampoo their hair. So I did get the retractable faucet so that it'll make it a little bit easier. And then I also ended up getting a rainforest shower head installed in the shower in the bathroom. And then I got the one with the rainforest head, as well as the retractable, you know, the little sprayer one that you can detach as well. I ended up getting that because I did not want the boring old stationary, you know, faucet, you know, or shower head, should I say, for the bathroom. So I ended up doing that, but that's pretty much it. You know, eventually I do want to get the light bulbs that's in the home, like, changed to, what is it? The daylight lighting, like the white light, I believe. I'm not sure. I think that's what it is. The daylight lights, I believe. I want to get it that, because I don't really like the little off yellow dim lighting. I don't like that. I like the white lighting. Okay, so I do have that in my kitchen and in the bathroom, but eventually I want it in every room, because I also have it in my dining room as well. So with that being said, you know, I want to go ahead and conclude with some last minute things for you guys. You do not have to be a millionaire just to purchase a home for your first time. Now, I'm not really sure how it'll be as a second, third, fourth, fifth time, you know, homeowner. I can't speak on that. But for people that are, you know, new to the home buying process, and if it's going to be your first time going through this, please know that there are resources available for you, and then there are different programs that's available for you to go throughout this process and to help you with the biggest part of it, which is the down payment. So I will repeat this process again. I will do it again. And it's been nice, you know, being a homeowner. I will say, again, it's just me here, so it does get lonely, you know, but it is a pleasure when people come to my home, you know, and they talk about how nice it is, how good it smells, and oh my God, you know, your yard is so pretty. You know, it's a compliment. I really do like that, you know. So like I said, eventually I will do a tour with you guys, but for the most part right now, I don't want to show it right now because it's not like how I want it to be as far as the decorations and things of that nature. But it is definitely livable and I love it. You know, I've even fell in love with the gas for the heat. Like right now it's cold and rainy outside. I don't know if you guys can tell because I got my little Christmas stuff on the window, but it's, you know, and I have my heater on and it's really nice. But I'm not going to hold you guys up. So you guys let me know what you thought about this. Was this very informative? If you have been through the home buying process, how was it for you? And were you nervous? Did you have that support system that you were looking for when you did it? Did it make the process easier? Did it make it harder? I want to know. So please comment down below and let me know. And as always, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys could have been on any other YouTuber's channel, but you guys decided to pay me a visit, and for that I do thank you. And I also wanted to say that I do apologize that it's been about 2 weeks since I've posted something. I lost my momentum, I feel, a little bit. Like I was getting a little bit discouraged, you know, feeling like, you know, my channel wasn't growing at the rate that it should be. But, you know, I had to pull myself up because it's like, you know what, I don't want to quit. I don't want to stop. I have so much that I can talk about. My life may seem boring to me, but to other people, it may seem very interesting. So that's what's motivated me. So whatever I feel like filming, I'm just going to film, you know. So right now I wanted to talk to you guys about being a homeowner for the past year. I felt like this would be a very informative, realistic video because number one, I'm not a big YouTuber right now, so I'm being completely transparent and honest with you guys. So I do hope you guys, you know, take all of that into consideration and understand that, again, this process is unique for every person. And I would say that if you are going through this, you know, if you're just now starting out, don't be nervous. It's going to work out in your favor. Like it was a pleasure doing this, you know. Now when it comes to the closing table, you have to get all your peeps there at the closing table because that's the best part. And so I was glad that I was able to go through the closing process, at least with my mom there by my side. So she was there, you know, for that part. But I would have liked for more people, more of my support system to have been there even at the beginning part of the process. So it's all good. Like I said, you live and you learn. And yes, but I'm not going to hold you guys up no more. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, ciao.